like it to be someone from the area where the trial is being held. This year, that person is Marshall Dunaway. Also decided to recognize two other individuals who have made significant and extraordinary contributions to our sport and to this area. Unfortunately, they are no longer with us, and that is Bruce Hall and Tom Strickland. These people, plus some others, have made very, very significant contributions to the grounds that you're going to be running on. And these are fabulous grounds. And what is interesting to me is that you will find that they are all a little bit different. And that's based on the people that developed them. Bruce, Tom, and of course, Wayne was part of that. And of course, we have Jack Umbiam, who was part of that. And Marshall was involved in that in a different way, which I'm going to talk about a little bit. When I was driving up here from Beaver Run today, something came across my mind that I hadn't even thought about. We have three people that we are recognizing, and they all have a dog that has something to do with this field trial. Okay? And I thought that was kind of neat. The first one is Gizmo. Gizmo was a national champion in 2015. He was trained on these grounds. He was Bruce's pride and joy. So I thought that was kind of neat, that here we are recognizing Bruce in this area, and Gizmo, his pride and joy, was trained here. Secondly, we have Zeke. Zeke was Tom Strickland's only titled dog. Zeke is in this trial. Being run by Lee, his daughter. We also have 40 years ago, as of this trial, Dynamite Duke won the national on Beaver Run Farm.
There you go.
I don't know if that's a coincidence or if that's just the way it was meant to be, but that's why we're here today. I want to talk a little bit about these three folks. The first one that kind of located here was Tom, and that was in like the 1970s. He bought a small piece of land out there where Beaver Run is now, and he wanted it to use to develop his bird dogs, and maybe some retrievers, but he wanted to hunt on. That's what it was primarily for. And over the years, he added to it from time to time. He got interested in retrievers more and more, and he heard about a professional retriever trainer, supposedly, up on a farm located near Pavo called the Dunaway farm. So Tom decided he'd go up there and check this thing out. When he got there, just so happens that Marshall was there, and they met for the first time. Is that correct, Marshall?
That's correct.
And that was the first day of a lifelong friendship. As time went on, the two of them got more and more involved in retrievers. They became involved with the North Florida Club. And not long after that, they became involved with the National Club. They both served on the board. They both served as president. And in 1985, as I mentioned earlier, the National was held at Beaver Run and a few surrounding areas. And in 1989, the trial was held on Beaver. The National was held on Beaver Run also. As Tom purchased more land, and the Nationals were held here, they started getting people willing to come in and train on his grounds, and he was very gracious about it. He let them come in, they trained there, and eventually, I think one of the early people there was Tommy Sorensen, and eventually a young guy by the name of Wayne Curtis showed up. Wayne and Tom became good friends. Wayne trained there for quite a while. As Tom got close to retirement, he and Wayne talked, and Wayne decided maybe I'll get my own place. And Tom found it for him. And that's the property that Wayne and Jack Ubion now own. Not long after that, they formed the Southwest Georgia Retriever Club. Marshall and Tom, primary people involved there, but there were others. In 2003, another person arrived, and that was Bruce Hall. And Pine Tree was purchased by Bruce, Pine Tree North. And that Bruce Hall was here mainly because Wayne was here. And as a few years more passed, Bruce also purchased Pine Tree South. These, I think when was it built? 2012 when you bought your place over there?
About that, yeah.
Yeah. Bruce, Bill and Pat followed them, and now we have all these grounds that we're using today were primarily the result of Tom when he first started, and Marshall when he first started, and the people that came after him. If you see these guys around, if you get a chance to talk to Barbara, get a chance to talk to Betty, let them know how much you appreciate that. Let Marshall know how much you appreciate all the things he's done for the Tall Pines Retriever Club. These people have been very dedicated to our sport. I want to talk a little bit about each individual. We lost Bruce on November 22nd, 2023. He had been running and handling dogs for 37 years. He was initially involved with hunt tests, I think, and dabbled around with some Chesapeakes. You can imagine that. I didn't know Bruce real well, but I knew him. But I've talked to a number of his friends, and he had a lot of friends. And the reason he had a lot of friends was because he was a very generous man. After Jesus Christ, the most important thing to Bruce was Betty. And after Betty, it was the dogs. And those controlled his life. Those three things controlled his life. He was a combat veteran. As he described it, when other units got in trouble, his unit went in. He was a tough man, a very determined man. He gave 110%, and whatever he took on, he usually got done. He was very involved with charities. He gave a lot of money and help to law enforcement and to entities that help needy children. He always mentored newcomers, and he opened up his property to any and everyone that wanted to enjoy their dogs and train their dogs. As most of you know, maybe you don't, Bruce and Betty have made sure that that property will continue to be used for what it was intended, and that's the dogs. So we appreciate that very much. We lost Tom on July 30th, 2020. And I've already talked a little bit about Tom and how he got started and about Zeke. Tom was a little different than most field trialers. Tom wasn't in it for blue ribbons. He was in it for the dogs. All he wanted to do was train his dogs, hunt his dogs, and watch them develop. He wanted them around him all the time. He didn't think much about using a professional. He may have used one occasionally, I don't know. But he was going to be hands-on, even if it meant he didn't win a lot of blue ribbons. His priorities, being around his dog, training his own dogs, both bird dogs and retrievers, and developing the farm. If Tom could do it himself, he was going to do it. And sometimes it didn't always work out.
Like driving a tractor up a tree.
Rumor is that a side-by-side burned up when he was using it, but he had nothing to do with it. Rumor is he buried an excavator in a what?
In a pond.
In a pond, but he had nothing to do with it. Tom called these mishaps. As with Bruce, Tom was very gracious with his property. He'd let anyone come on and train. He loved to mentor new people, and he was just happy watching people enjoy his property, as was Bruce and Betty. He was a past board member, as I said earlier, of the National Retriever Club and a past president. He was a charter member of the High Point Marina Board. I don't know if anybody knew that, but that's how well respected he was back then. Like Bruce, like Bruce, Tom made sure that his property will continue to be used how it was intended, and he's done that through Bert and Lee. And we appreciate that. Now we get to Marshall.
Uh-oh.
We're glad to have you, Marshall.
This isn't it.
I got to know Marshall in the early 80s. I met Marshall at the North Florida Retriever Club. I went to my first field trial, club trial in 1980. And Marshall and Tom and some other folks who were up in this area were there. And I could tell right away that Marshall was very, very competitive. He wanted to win. It didn't matter what it was. Like Tom, he was very hands-on in his training. Wanted to train his own dogs. And he did. And he was a good trainer. He, like Tom, also was first involved with bird dogs. And he did that up in the Carolinas when he was in school. He also was a mentor to new people coming into the game, such as myself. And he was very involved, as Tom was, with the North Florida Amateur Retriever Club. He was also a past board member of the National Retriever Club and past president of the National Retriever Club. The two dogs that I remember mostly about Marshall was Dynamite Duke, the 1985 national champion. Marshall trained that dog primarily, and unfortunately, he was, what were you, chairman at that time or president? He was chairman of the Retriever Club of the trial that year, and made the decision to let someone else run the dog. Now that's given up quite a bit in my mind for the club. But it turned out okay, didn't it, Marshall? As I mentioned earlier, when I met Marshall the first time, I knew he was very competitive. And I also thought to myself, well, you know, this guy must be pretty smart too. Here he is, after he graduated from high school, he breezed right through Davidson College, breezed right through Duke Medical School, breezed right through his Emory internship, received a Medal of Commendation for his military service, was a very successful physician in Thomasville. He had to be smart. However, something happened around 1990. And that was the time, well, I didn't mention the second dog, Hammer and Hawk.
Oh, yeah.
In 1990, Hammer and Hawk was one of the premier stud dogs around. And he was building up quite a bit of money for Marshall, I guess. Marshall, for some reason, decided around 1990, at about what age, Marshall? Well, let's not tell.
55.
He decided that he was going to go to Daytona and race motorcycles on a concrete track at 160 to 170 miles per hour with people about 1/3 his age. Now, when that happened, I didn't think he was so smart.
Neither did I.
Well,
Turned out you were right.
well, when he went over the rail at what speed?
135.
About 130 maybe?
135.
He almost didn't come back, and he changed his mind about those motorcycles real quick and came back to the dogs. These three guys, Marshall Dunaway, Tom Strickland, Bruce Hall, are why we're here today. As I said earlier, if you see them or their family members, thank them for what they've done for us, for this game. And at this time, I'd like you, the three of you, to come on up. Marshall? We have